Oh my God, that sounds incredible. What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we are checking out the Flamma FX200 multi-effects processing unit. Let's do it. Alright guys, hope you're doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name is Kyle, and what I do is I take all sorts of awesome high gain related guitar gear, I record it with a simple setup, and I give you the unprocessed audio on your end. So if you're into E-standard thrash riffs, drop C hardcore riffs, and dudes that really need new glasses, you're in the right place. Consider hitting the like button and subscribing on the way out so you don't miss any more of my stuff. Thanks! Alright guys, so today we are going down the multi-effects unit once again. You guys really seem to like the last time that I did a video for a multi-effects unit, which actually kind of caught me by surprise. So when Flamma reached out and asked me to check out the FX200 multi-effects processor unit here with you guys on the channel, I figured that that was something that you guys would be into, so I said, yeah, let's do it. But just so you guys know, before we go any further into this video, Flamma have paid me. They have sponsored this video to review this unit here on my channel with you guys. So feel free to take everything that I say with a grain of salt, but I just wanted to be open and transparent with you guys. So keep that in mind, but I am gonna be honest as I always am. So what is the Flamma 200? Well, it is a multi-effects processor unit. I don't really know any other words how to state it. This is a $499 effects multi-processing unit. There are amp sims built into here. There are all sorts of awesome functionalities. I did not start that sentence off correctly to get to the point that I wanted to. But one of the first things that jumped out to me is at $499, this is actually a touchscreen unit. On the top or the back here, whichever way you're looking at it, we have an actual effects send and return, so you can actually put effects in the effects loop of this unit. Over here on the output, we have both 1/4 inch and XLR outputs, and we've got a mono stereo output, meaning if you plug into just the left, it's going to output all of your audio through the left portion. But if you're plugging in or you're sending your signal out through the left and the right, it's gonna split it stereo, and that's gonna give you a couple of different options because you're going to be able to split the signal up if you wanna send your signal, say the amp sim and your effects to a cab, to a power amp and cab, for your live stage use, but you also want to send a signal out to the front of house with an actual cab simulation on it. You can do that because you can actually turn on and off the cab simulation, if I can find it in here real quick. Via the system here in the settings, we can scroll down, and here on your global cab, we can turn it on both the left and right outputs, or we can individually turn it off and on, so very useful. And that functionality applies to both the 1/4 inch outputs and the XLR outputs. This also has a headphone out jack, so you can use this thing to plug into and play silently. And another thing that I think people are gonna be really happy about is this actually has MIDI capability, so if you wanna hook up a MIDI controller to this thing and control it via MIDI, you can do that. And then as far as the remaining functionalities, we've got a ground lift switch just in case you're running into some grounding issues. And then we have an output for a second expression pedal. So if you want to hook up an exterior expression pedal, what are you doing? Come on, bro. My puppy's in here just doing whatever he wants. Anyways, you can hook up an exterior expression pedal. We also have a USB capability, so you can hook this up and actually use it as an audio interface if you want to. I have not tried that yet, but I do know that it is possible based on some of the other reviews that I've watched. So another cool feature there, but none of this stuff matters if the unit doesn't sound very good. So for the first part of the demo, I'm going to just be playing directly into my interface and listening through my monitors. But of course, in true belligerent amateur fashion, we are going to hear this thing going through a tube power amp into a V30 loaded cab with an SM57 on that cab. So let's get started. First off, let's check out a couple of the presets real quick, and then I'm actually just gonna dive into one of these and kind of reset everything, and I'm gonna build a preset from scratch with you guys so that you can see how involved it is to get from having no tone to having a good tone. So here's our preset one. A lot of the early presets are cleans. which of course we don't care about whatsoever. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get right past all these. We're gonna get into our gain settings. So if we click on our amp setting here, this brings us into our amp cab, all of our effect settings and stuff. We will manually select things by pressing on them with the touch screen, but say we wanna take our noise gate, which is what this is, and move it, that's where we use the value. And we can put it in front of the amp, we can put it behind the amp, we can put it behind all the effects, and you can pick up and move pretty much all these parameters. As far as I'm aware, you can pick up each individual thing and structure it how you want. Your signal is in here, goes around this very long, awkward horseshoe, and then comes out here. So you can actually see your signal chain, and it's gonna be like that on every setup here. I really need to turn off my notification volume on my computer, but you know me, I just wanna dial in a tone that sounds good for what I'm doing, whether it be recording, whether it be playing live. So that's kind of what we're gonna focus on here on my channel, is can we get good high gain tones out of this thing? So we're gonna go, here's a Brit J800, so I think you all know what that's supposed to be. And again, if we want to adjust the parameters, we click on it, we can go into the amp itself, and here is where we have everything. You can individually select each one of the parameters, like the bass, the treble, the middle, and you can use your finger to, you know, adjust the levels, or you can use your value control to fine tune it. I would say that sounds pretty JCM 800 to me, honestly. Let's go ahead and max that gain out. And just like on a real 800, maxing the gain out kind of thickens it up, fattens it up a little bit. Let's go ahead and put an overdrive on out in front of that and see if we can get it into a little bit more of a high gain territory. Right now we have a smooth boost, but if we go in here, we can scroll up and down and select all sorts of different overdrives. The obsessive overdrive, I think we all know what that is always a good pair with an 800. So let's turn the gain down, let's turn the volume up. That actually sounds really good. Maybe a little bit higher gain than an actual 800 would be, but still, it sounds surprisingly good like that. So let's go back into our settings here. Let's check out the cab, because I have not really gone through the cabs all that much. 1960 412A, not a surprise there that that's paired with the JCM 800. One thing that I did find interesting about this is it actually gives you a tube selection on the cab section, not on the actual amp. I thought that was odd. Maybe they just ran out of space to put different parameters under the amps, but to have the tube setting underneath the cab seemed a little goofy, but at least you get the option to check it at all. Let's actually scroll it off. Pretty noticeable difference. Let's change it to 6L6. Yeah, that's a massive difference. Over to 6V6. I like that setting, it's pretty tight. Up to EL34, which we were already on, and then EL84. All right, so let's just go back to EL34. Seems to be the most mid-forward, a little bit crunchier sounding too in the gain structure, so that's cool. We also have a low cut and a high cut, so if you're recording, that's gonna be useful. Or if you're going out to front of house even, that it'll be useful to kind of control that stuff if you like to. And then we have space, so I'm guessing that this is like, kind of like a room sound. Yeah, it kind of makes everything sound bigger. Yeah, it's kind of like close miking versus backing the mic up off the cabinet. So right now we've got a reverb effect on, so if we want to turn that off, let's actually see if we can drag this EQ in front. All right, so we can. Okay, so we just have different 6-band EQ options. I was kind of hoping that we would have something with a level so that we could further boost the front end of the Marshall a lot like you would with a JCM 800 just to get it into that really high gain territory, but it doesn't look like that as an option. But even so, let's boost our 2K a little bit. Let's get a little bit more grind out of this thing. All right, and what happens if we turn it off? Cool, that actually makes a nice difference and I like the way that it sounds there, but we can also select this and move it after the amp so we can use it as a post EQ basically. From where I'm sitting, that sounds like a very tight, aggressive metal tone. Let's actually back that 2 kilohertz off just a tad. I gotta be honest, guys, this JCM 800, this is the first time I've really messed around with this amp. I think it actually sounds really good. And of course, we can jump in and start doing non-belligerent things like using the mod style effects. So we've got 70s chorus. Copyright. All right, so that's cool. We've got a whole bunch of different options as far as chorus. We've got flanger, we've got phaser, we've got vibrato, rotary, tremolo. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that we can mess around with in here. Let's turn on delay too, why not, right? All right, so let's leave that on because why not? And let's get that reverb kicking again. As far as reverbs, we've got spring, room, hall, church, plate, cave, and mod. Let's do cave reverb. That feels so incredibly 80s. We've also got noise reduction here, which is a suppressor, a reducer, and a gate. Let's just put it on the gate setting. And it lets the effects keep going. I gotta say, man, that JCM 800, it feels tighter than a natural JCM 800. That's kind of to be expected, but it feels really good. Like, it's a lot of fun to play for me. So let's start scrolling through. Let's get to some high gain amp. Here we go, 5150. Now we're talking my language. It does sound like the 5153, but it sounds a little bit hollow. That's also on the 5153 412 cabinet, and that could be a big reason why. If we get it on something like, say, a Cali rectifier cabinet, things might change a little bit. But if you ask me, we need a boost. So go over here, click on our overdrive. Let's turn the overdrive off. Let's find something familiar. Screamer 808. Doesn't get any more familiar than that. So let's pull that tone back. Okay, I'm having fun. This sounds really good, the way that we have it set right now. There is a little bit of a goofy mid-frequency going on right now, kind of a type sound. All right, so that is the 5153 red channel. Let's go ahead and try some other high gain stuff. Sounds pretty good. It sounds Friedman-y to me, honestly. It could just be my monitors and my monitoring environment, but the amp profiles overall seem like they're a little subdued in the mids. Like there's just not a lot of mid presence until you start to push it on the actual EQ of the amp model. But honestly, once you get it dialed in, this is the second amp model where I've been very impressed with what's coming out of the monitor. And it definitely has that smooth Friedman-like character, so I'm gonna go ahead and guess that that's what that's supposed to be. Archeon 100 distortion 2. All right, so yeah, man, I dig it. What happens if we try this on a different 412? Ooh, that's a good sound and speaker impulse right there. And then we've got a bunch of empty slots, which means that we can add our own custom impulse responses on here if we want to. Another nice feature. I would actually be pretty surprised to not see that feature on here, but still happy to see it. All right, so we've got US Classic, we've got custom. Let's try the solo. All right, that is 100% my favorite. Now, the SLO sounds really... The distortion models in here sound excellent. They really do. The high gain stuff sounds really, really good. Most of the models that I've tried on here. So we've got 58 amp models all together. Kind of surprising actually, because that Donner that I reviewed had like 120 amp. It had something ridiculous in it, and that was half the price. I'm not gonna complain because everything that's in here sounds really good so far, but it is a little bit surprising. Let's actually try it through a power amp. Let's bypass these cab impulses and see what just the modeling sounds like on its own. Let's go back over to, let's go to the rectifier. To be honest, so far, not sounding super natural through this particular power amp. All right, we're gonna put this on hold because I feel like this power amp is coloring everything in a very like nasally mid-heavy way. So let me grab my Power Stage 200 real quick. I can already tell you that that was absolutely the case. That power amp has a lot of coloring. Oh my God, that sounds incredible. That sounds super, super good. Like, I am legitimately impressed with how good that sounds. Let's try the rectifier again. Definitely sounds more like a rectifier, still doesn't quite nail it all the way. Hi, buddy. All right, that's gonna do it for me today, guys, on the Flamma FX200. I think that there are some very good hits in this unit as far as amp modeling. I definitely think that there are some misses too. There are definitely some amp models in here that I do not think are accurate, as I own pretty much every amp that I played through the model of here today. Some of them were really good, some of them were not so good, but there are definitely good tones in this thing. It has a few really good built-in impulse responses. It gives you the ability to put your own impulse response in. I am kind of dumb when it comes to effects, like multi-effects units, but I was able to figure this out really quickly. I think it's very intuitive. Like I said, the only thing I can't figure out is how to get back to this main amp page right here. But other than that, I think that this thing was really easy to figure out from the standpoint of somebody who doesn't mess with this stuff much. 500 bucks is the price point, and I'm gonna let you guys tell me what you think about everything that I just said. What do you think about the feature set? What do you think about the tones that I was getting in this video? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think $500 is a fair price for a super well-built unit with a touchscreen, but maybe not as much amp modeling as some of the other multi-effects units out on the market? Do you think that that's a solid trade-off? Let me know down in the comments. I'm really curious to see what you guys think, and if you stayed for the whole video, I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, hit the like button on the way out. Consider subscribing so you don't miss any more stuff. If you would like to see me compare this against like a Neural Quad Cortex or something else, let me know, because I don't do a lot with the effects modeling stuff, but when I do, you guys seem to really be into it. So if you guys want to see me do more with these effects modeling units and dive a little deeper into them, maybe get into some comparisons, let me know that stuff down in the comments as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time.
You know what this wall is missing? Another amp. There we go.